like I said, this is just a reverse of what we already know how to do. So we're not going to take too long on this. I want you guys to have plenty of time to work on our assignment before we get out of here, which is why most of this is already done for us. So if we want to write an equation in slope-intercept form, right? Anyone remember what slope-intercept form looks like?
No.
Like something.
We just talked. Yeah, y equals what, Zach?
Equals x or k. It was k x, but no b.
Close. Mx plus what? B. Right, that's what we just talked about. Okay? So that would be slope-intercept form, all right? So if we want to write something in slope-intercept form, we need to know the slope, which is my m, and we need to know the y-intercept, which is my b. Again, this is everything we were just talking about on the booklet, okay? Diego, you writing this down? You got this written down yet? Yeah, write it down on top. So we got nice simple steps to follow here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight the line and the y-axis. Okay, so with one of your highlighters, we're going to highlight the line that's graphed and our y-axis, just to make it easier for us to identify the point where they cross each other. Because that crossing point, that's going to be our b value, our y-intercept.
Mr. Church, how many colors do we need?
Just one. Maybe. Maybe. And just like normal, when we're finding slope from a graph, we're going to go to the leftmost point. We're going to count your rise, either up or down. Okay, my rise is either up or down. What direction am I always going to run, everybody?
Right?
Run?
Oh, wait, run.
To the right.
Wait, you just...
All right, we're going to put them in a fraction, rise over run, and that's going to make our slope. Now, of course, we got to make sure we're simplifying our slope as much as possible. All right, so if I have 4 over 2, I'm not leaving it as 4 over 2. I'm simplifying it. Again, that's where a lot of us lost some points on the test last Friday. Once you have your m and you have your b, you're just going to plug them into our equation for the m and the b. Right, so on Monday before the counselors got here, we were given an m, we were given a b, we just had to plug them in. Now we're doing the same thing, but we got one small step beforehand, and that's figuring out what the m and the b is from a graph. So let's look at this graph down here. First thing we're going to do, again, with our highlighters. Everybody has a yellow highlighter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, with our yellow highlighter, we're going to highlight the line. So the graphed line from that bottom spot all the way up to the top, highlight that line in yellow real quick. So with the yellow highlighter, we're highlighting that line. And then with our second color, whether you got pink, green, blue, whatever, we're going to highlight the y-axis. Now, is my y-axis going up and down or left and right? The y-axis? Up and down. Right? One way that we can remember that, see how this graph doesn't have x and y? The y-axis is the one that we can make a capital Y out of. See how that whole pink line makes a Y? That's going to be my y-axis. I can't do that with this flat line right here. All right? So I've got my pink y-axis. I've got my yellow line. Where do those two highlighted lines cross? Where do they intersect? Raya?
3.
At 3. Boom, right there. I'm going to make a nice big dot right there at 3. So what is my B equal to?
3.
3. It's that easy. If you guys ever seen like a pirate show or something, they say X marks the what? The spot, right? X marks the spot. So I've got this big X here made by my line and my y-axis. Right in the center of that X, that's where the treasure's at. That's where my B is going to be. Okay? All right, now we got to figure out the slope. I'm going to start on my leftmost point. That's all the way down here. Okay? So I'm going to start on my left point. Am I going to rise first or am I going to run first?
Rise.
We're going to rise. We got to rise before we can run, right? What direction am I rising if I want to get over to this treasure?
Up.
I want to rise up.
Positive.
Positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces up.
2 to the right.
And 1, 2 spaces to the right.
That would be
Okay. So when I go to set up my fraction, what number is going to go in the numerator on the top?
6.
The 6. That's my rise. What's going to go on the denominator?
2.
2. That's my run.
And yes, we can simplify it.
Yes, we can. Zach, what is 6 divided by 2?
3.
3. All right. Am I going too fast? No? Give me a thumbs up. You're with me so far. That's all making sense.
No reaction.
Beautiful. Okay. Some sideways. That's all right. So I know that my B is 3. I know that my M is 3. Makes it a lot easier when it's the same number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my M. I'm going to take out my B. What am I going to put in place of my M? Eva? 3. Perfect. And what am I going to put in place of my B? 3. Thank you, Alyssa. 3. There's my linear equation. Y is equal to 3x plus 3. Right? So this is all very much exactly what we've been learning in Unit 3A. It's just kind of flipping it around, going from the opposite direction. All right? While you're finishing that up, here comes the second piece, just to get a little practice. We're going to do the first one together.
Yippee.
And then I'm going to let you guys work with your partners on the second two before we get to our actual worksheet. Right, Elias? Perfect. See.
What did I do?
I'm just kidding. Go ahead and glue this in. 30 seconds.
Mr. Coronado was not confused.
You need to glue this in. I bet these notes will make you happier. And the second piece, put it in there.
Where the 6 at?
Should still have the glue. Is there not glue in there?
Ross gatekeeping.
You the ask.
That's nasty, dude. 30.
Okay, 15 more seconds and we're going. Go ahead and get it glued in.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, if I'm following my steps from the previous page, what am I going to do first? Find our B. How can I do that? Angelina? With our highlighters. So, this diagonal line here, the actual line that is graphed, I'm going to highlight that in yellow. With my second color, I'm going to highlight the vertical y-axis. Okay, and if we're looking at a map right now, where's our treasure located on this map?
Or -2.
-2. So what is B equal to?
Negative 2.
-2.
That is
All right. Now I've got a second point all the way down here. Am I going to start counting from this left point or this right point? The leftmost point. We always go from left to right, just like we're reading a book, right? Left to right. So if I start here on the left, am I going to rise first or am I going to run? Bless you.
Wait, right.
I'm going to rise first, but what direction am I rising here?
You're gonna go down.
I'm rising down.
Negative.
1, 2 spaces down. Right? So if I'm rising down, let's think back. Is my rise 2 or something else?
Your rise
negative 2. If we're rising down, then my rise is negative. I'm always going to run to the right. How many spaces to the right do I have to run?
You have to run
4. So what's my fraction here going to look like if I'm putting my rise over my...
Negative 2 over 4.
Negative 2 over 4. Good.
negative 1/2.
That's right. I can simplify this, right? What factor does 2 and 4 have in common? 2. I'll divide the top by 2, the bottom by 2. I know if you can do it in your head, even better. But for some of us, this helps. Negative 2 divided by 2 gives me negative 1, and 4 divided by 2 gives me 2. So there's my B. There's my simplified M. Can I get a volunteer to help me write this equation? Okay, Zach, what's it going to look like?
Y equals negative 1/2 x plus, or no, minus 2.
Good, minus 2. Why don't we want to put a plus in there?
Because then it would be positive, but it ain't positive.
That's right, because my B is negative. Right? So technically, yes, we are adding negative 2, but a plus and a minus, that just makes a minus. So I've got negative 1/2 x minus 2. And there's my equation right there for that line. All right? So what you're going to do now is these next two, I'll leave that one up there just for reference. You're going to follow these steps on the next two problems and see if you can come up with the equations. All right? We're going to take 3 minutes, and then we'll come back together and see how you guys did. All right? But work with the people next to you, behind you, around you. If you get stuck, see if you can come up with the equations. All right? Go ahead and get started.
This is extremely common.
No, son, it's easy. It stops at
Where does it start?
the... That's origin. So it's 0.
Use your
B
highlighters.
is 0.
Yes.
So starts at the origin.
And then this is...
It goes up 1. And it goes
Okay, so let's walk through this right
right
now.
here.
You got 2 highlighters? Where's your highlighters?
6 over 1. So at that.
All right, let's talk about this instead.
Alright, so you rise 4,
Um,
you go up 2.
so first we got to find our B. So see this diagonal line right here? Go ahead and highlight that line in yellow real quick. The one that's like slits. Close? Good. Okay. Now with our pink highlighter, is my y-axis this one or that?
X.
Up and down, right? So highlight that one in pink real quick. Okay, perfect. Now where do that yellow line and that pink line cross? In the middle. So what number is right in the middle? 0. So we know B equals 0. So our pencil, we're going to write B equals 0. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, rise over run. Remember, we're going to start here in the middle. We're going to go over to this point here. So if I'm starting right here, do I need to rise up or do I need
Wait,
to
so
rise
the
down?
rise.
Rise
So the
up.
rise
How many
is over run.
spaces high?
Yes. Look, see,
Okay.
you rise 1, look.
Your pencil do one
You rise
little line
one.
going up.
Yeah.
Just like that.
You go 1, 2, 3,
So
4.
my rise was what again?
What do we do
How many
here?
spaces up did we go? 1. So put a 1 on the top. Now from here, if I want to get over to this point, Matthew, go ahead and get started, buddy. How many spaces do I have to go to the right?
Alright, you don't know the
4.
story.
So do a line all the way over to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. That number's going to go right there on the bottom. Okay. Now, can I simplify 1 over 4 at all? Yeah? No, right? Because we got a 1 on the top. So we're just going to leave it like that. Here, hold on. Here's my B. Here's my M.
Okay,
So if I'm using the equation, right, y equals mx plus b, what am I going to put in space of n? What do we find m was equal to?
1, 2,
1 over
3 over 3.
4. And what do we say b was? 0. Now, do I need plus 0? If I give you $0, does anything change? No, right? So we don't even need to write this. We can just write y is equal to 1 over 4. So it's easy. You're just finding your B with the highlighters. You're counting to find your n, and then you're just plugging them in. So right here for the equation, that's where you're going to write this back. Okay, buddy? Oscar, you have a question?
We have to highlight this.
On the notes, yes. On the worksheet, no. And make sure we're highlighting the y-axis and the line, not the y-axis and the x-axis. But that's okay. You can't erase it. That looks good to me. All right, quick show of thumbs. How do we think we did? Thumbs up, think we did great. Thumbs sideways, think we did all right. Thumbs down, think we did poor. Bad. That's okay if you think you did bad. No, you didn't do bad. As long as you gave it a shot, there's no, you didn't do bad. Okay. Let's take a look at this second one. I'm going to highlight my line in yellow. I'm going to highlight my y-axis in pink. I got a dot right here and a dot right there. Right? Where do those two lines cross?
Origin.
At the origin. Well, what number is at the origin?
0.
0. So my B is going to be 0. Am I going to start on this left point or this right point? The left point. Am I going to rise first or run first? Rise. Up or down? Up. A lot of decisions to make, right, Zach?
Yes.
How many spaces up do I need to go?
1.
Just 1. It's okay. Sometimes it's hard to tell. But we're just going 1 space up. Right? I'm always running to the right. Like we said, the Super Mario games, you're always running to the right. How many spaces to the right am I going?
4.
4 of them. So what's my fraction going to look like? 1 over 4. Can I simplify 1 over 4? No, because there's a 1 on top. So we're just going to leave it as 1 over 4.
Mr. Church.
Yeah.
I just made another point at -4 and -1, and then I rose 2, and then
Perfect. So you rose 2 and ran how many?
8.
8. 2 over 8, and you simplified it and you got what? 1 over 4, right? Same thing. I love it. Great point. So I'm going to plug these in. Y is equal to something x plus something. What's going to go in front of my x? 1 over 4, because that's my m. Oops, wrong color. What's going to go on the end? Nothing. We could write plus 0, but does adding 0 mean anything? No. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Y is equal to 1 over 4x. Now, bonus point, what type of relationship is this?
Proportional.
Good. That's right. This is proportional.
Is it okay if I added the 0 if you had to?
Now, on a test, if you put plus 0, I'm not going to be crazy about that because you're not wrong, right? It is plus 0. But it's one of those things like in English class, you just know to end a sentence in a period, right? In math, we just know that plus 0 is unnecessary. But if on a test, I wouldn't be that crazy about it. Yeah. But moving forward, I can't promise your teacher next year won't be crazy about it, so just keep that in mind. All right, last but not least, before we get started on our assignment, we got tons of time. There's my y-axis. There's my line, and I flipped the colors, but it doesn't matter. Where do they cross? You guys still with me in the back, Eva, Caleb? Yeah, where do these two lines cross? At 3. So what does my B equal to? 3. All right? Okay, focus. Oscar, Diego, focus. We're almost done.
He's distracted.
Okay, please stop. Okay. Here's the left point. Here's the right point. I'm going to rise first, right? But what direction am I rising here?
Down.
Down. So it's negative. How many spaces down did we go?
4.
3. Okay. Then I'm going to run to the right. How many spaces to the right are we going? 2. So my rise over run is going to be 3 over 2, right?
Yeah.
No? Why not? It's going to be -3 because we went down. Right? We can always check, too. Look at this line. If I drew a little person on the left side, we talked about this during Blooket, and I asked them to go to the other side of the line, are they walking uphill or downhill? Downhill. Okay, it's going to be a negative slope. Are we good in this group? Do we need to change?
No.
Okay, perfect. Show me. So y is equal to, what's going to go in front of my x? Yeah, Eva? 3 over 2? Good. -3 over 2. What's going to go after that fraction? Anai? Plus 3. Right? Got to throw the x in there, and then
X.
plus 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Give me a thumbs up. You got that right. That second one. Good. Emerson, Raya, Jawad. Give me 1 sec, okay? Cooper, you got it?
Yeah, I understand.
Good. That's great.
Good job,